How loud is that? Is that like super flippin' loud? I'm gonna give it a little bit of time. I'm excited for today's episode. I know I need to get back to reviewing my book, but there's a lot of cool stuff I want to talk about. Cool, meaningful stuff. I think we can. Think we can kick it off even with the sound I got. I don't think it's that loud. I honestly can't quite tell. So I think we're gonna go for it. So all right, well we'll get things started here. Just give me one hot second, and we'll get the recording going. Welcome to Fables of Our Deconstruction, a podcast where we examine our systems of faith and culture together as we grow as people. I'm your host, Dylan. If you like what you hear, check me out at patreon.com/Dylan. If you'd like to be on a future episode, leave me a message at 515-318-7569 or find Fables of Our Deconstruction on Anchor FM and leave me a voice message. Leave your name, otherwise I will keep you anonymous. Let's get into this. All right. So, it is almost Thanksgiving. And if you're watching the stream, I look crazy. I'm growing my hair back out, and I'm just getting used to how I look, which is an interesting thing. We're in that time of year where people start to wonder, oh, should I work out a little bit more? What is my New Year's resolution going to be? And all of those wonderful feelings and things. So, it is... It is a challenge. I agree. It's getting colder out. There's fewer things to do socially. For me, I'm doing less events as the year wraps up. I only have one event left on December 1st in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And aside from that, what I'm looking forward to, or at least what's in my future, is family time. Family time, both with my family, the family I grew up with, my biological family, and my in-laws, my wife's family. And these wrap around holidays, U.S. holidays, but Christian holidays. That's probably a good way to look at it. I would say even Thanksgiving, although, an American holiday, is wrapped up in a lot of Christianity. And especially for me, growing up, Thanksgiving is definitely the time of year where blessings and prayers abound. So I know we need to get back to my wonderful book from Answers in Genesis, Begin. And I think we'll wrap that up in 2 weeks. But I want to talk about blessings, Thanksgiving, family prayer, and expectations because it can be a bitch. I'm gonna word it as plainly and frankly as I can. But before I get into that, I do want to mention, hey, the elections turned out better than we thought nationwide. Iowa, big stinker, turned out exactly as we thought. Uh, it's looking likely that we're going to lose more rights, specifically those of us who have uteruses. So we'll keep fighting. We'll do what we can. It's very tempting not to stick around Iowa, but that's a story for another time. So let's talk about thankfulness and blessings. The reason this is on my mind, like I said, is because I'm going to be going to family things. Now, there's a difference between the two families I go visit. There is my biological family and my in-laws. And my biological family growing up was very much like, hey, when we're a big family together, we have to say grace. Someone's going to lead us. We're going to bow our heads, fold our hands, and thank God and Jesus for all the good food. Even though my grandmother and aunts, uncles, and mom all worked on the food, we're going to thank God for it anyway. And one of the things I've noticed, specifically as I grew older, some of my relatives got the interest in saying go to church as sort of a goodbye instead of saying hey, see you later. Go to church, don't forget to go to church. And for me, that's unnecessary. I don't find a utility in church. I do find utility in meeting with other people, spending time with other people, but if I'm looking for people remotely like me, I'm not going to find them necessarily in church. So that's just never been a useful thing. The other problem I notice is involvement in prayer. And that can be really challenging. I've always pushed back on the prayer. I don't want to say the prayer. And I don't know if it was skepticism from the beginning or just child rebellion, but I struggled with it. I didn't want to say the out loud stuff. And I believe. I believed for most of my life up until the late period of my 20s when I started to really embrace my lack of belief. It took me until I was 33 to really say, I think I'm an atheist. So it's always been a challenge, and I my heart goes out to those of you. Excuse me if you hear sing-songy noises. My laundry's finishing up. My heart really goes out to you, who struggle in these moments and who may have to fake it. I remember like folding my hands and bowing my head, even as recently as like my late 20s. But I don't want to do that anymore. Excuse me. So I find myself concerned. I know I probably won't see my biological family on the actual holiday, and I might miss their gathering, which means I'll probably miss some of those pressures, which to me, I'm just going to use their verbiage, feels like a blessing, right? Uh, but I do want to be able to be there in those moments in the future and have the fortitude to say, I am happy to be here with you, but I don't want to partake in this part. You can have your blessing. I can stand here, but I don't need any pressure. Thank you very much. But oddly enough, that can be really hard. So I struggle with self-esteem issues and depression and stuff like that. And I think that I'm a coward a lot of times. And I worry that would be me. So I feel much more comfortable in my in-laws' household where I would be willing to bet many of them are believers, but we don't say grace. We don't say what we're thankful for. There's no implication of going to church. And specifically around like Christmas and Easter, there's no push that we're all going to go to church together. It's a lot easier, a lot simpler time for me. And I think I prefer that. But I do want to be able to see my family. And one of the other struggles I've noticed in this tumultuous time that is the holiday season, and I would say from the end of Halloween, so the beginning of November until Easter, is a deeply religious time, especially in America, or at least in the Midwest, in the families that I grew up around and in. And there's this whole embracing one another and ensuring we say we love each other. Now, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that I didn't have a loving household. I may have had a less huggy, physically affectionate household, but I think my family largely loved each other. But I've been looking at myself and reflecting on why do I still and why have I always been uncomfortable saying I love you to my family members. My wife, that's easy. Many of the people I've dated, it was easy, sometimes too easy, but it's hard to say it to my family. And I look at some of the things that I've pushed back against, and I wonder, does my family think that it's just me being rebellious? Have I always been a rebellious teen, even before my teen years, even after my teen years, even in my 30s? I'm not sure. And part of me wonders, is it related to how religious so many little bits of my life were? I was a Boy Scout, very religious thing. I went to church all the time. I went to youth group stuff. I did confirmation, which was a Wednesday night thing. And there's always this conversation about love. And I'm wondering now, and perhaps I didn't feel this way, but this is something I'm processing. This is something I'm actively deconstructing, which is the point of this podcast. Do I push back against love in places where it is socially required, like family? Because when we interpret the love of God and we see what God offers, is God using love as leverage because God's abusive? So I'm wondering, do I have an internal fear of expressing and like saying I love you to family members because I don't want love to be something used as leverage against me? I don't want you to think, "Oh, he loves me, so I can pressure him to do something, act a certain way, go to church, don't you love us?" Sort of thing. Anything. I can't really name what it would be because I haven't experienced something so dramatic that I'm like, wow, love really got me in a pickle here. But I've always pushed against it. I do think I love my family for the most part. There are some people where I'm not sure I love them. And I think that's okay. I think that's fine. We define who our families are. People will say blood is thicker than water, but I have been told, and I should do some research on this, that the phrase originally began as the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. And even if that's not the origin of the phrase, I like that one a little bit more because the covenant is the pact, the friendship, the bond, the reality of a relationship we construct, as opposed to simply being blood. I do think there's simply being related, the water of the womb. I do think there's power in that. And I do think it's good to have support and love and kindness. It's hard not to use the word love with some of these things I'm trying to say, but I do think it's good to have family, a biological family. I think there's great benefits to it. And I think that it's an easy pathway to friendship, camaraderie, and relationships. But I'm reluctant to say love, and I push back against blessings. And I am actively disgusted when told to go to church because I don't find it necessary, because I don't believe in God, and I don't believe that what church has to offer to anyone is actually of any benefit other than the comfort of something like a security blanket. As a challenge, I don't want to say this at a family holiday, and I'm sure there are plenty of you with similar feelings who wish they could say something constructive and keep our mouths shut out of fear we might say something destructive. We don't want to tear these relationships asunder, but we don't want to feel like we're being marginalized, pushed out, made to be a black sheep, so we do nothing. And I think that's really devastating. I think that's a challenge. I think that's something we're all probably going to be dealing with this year in some level or another. Maybe some more extreme, maybe some less so. And I can only hope that it's less so. But I guess what I'm asking now as we move into this season, as we are a few days, 2 days away from Thanksgiving, a time in which we may be asked to pray and pretend to do so. What I'm asking is, if you're listening, send me an email, go to Anchor FM, call my phone number. I'll repeat the phone number right now, as a matter of fact. Here we go. Let me pull it up: 515-318-7569. Tell me how you deal with the family situation the holiday season. I understand there's political differences, but let's just talk about religious differences, the religious cultural differences. Tell me how that feels to you and how you manage to navigate that arena. I'm going to try my best to document my navigation of those issues this holiday season, starting in Thanksgiving, going all the way through the New Year into Easter, to see how I grapple with what's going on in my family situations around the table. Am I being forced to pray? Did I give up and bow my head? Did I say no, thank you, and find a way to respect people's boundaries? So I'd love to hear your approach to these things. And I think that would help me. I think that would help a lot of us. So if you want to leave a message, it'd be great. If you want to write in, my email address is thedylanjacobson@gmail.com. Whatever, it's written all over my websites. You can write in. You don't need to give me your name, but anything you do could be of use to not just me, but anyone listening. So that's what I want to focus on this week. Keep it brief, keep it simple. Next time we'll get back into Ken Ham's gloriously poorly written book Begin, and we'll finish tearing that apart. I'm just gonna run through the rest of it because the beginning was not my favorite. And so I don't want to suffer any longer than I have to, and I don't think any of you should suffer through me suffering. So yeah, this has been Fables of Our Deconstruction. Fables of Our Deconstruction is created by me, Dylan Jacobson. Please like and review Fables wherever you get your podcasts and join my community, the Brimstone Order, at patreon.com/Dylan. I'd like to thank Apes of the State for these are their song moments a year from now as my intro and outro. And remember, you're never alone. We are in this together. right. Well, I've paused the recording. If there's anybody here on YouTube who wants to chat a little bit, I'll hang out a little bit longer. Otherwise, I'm going to bounce. It's been a hellaciously busy day, and I've been doing lot of laundry on top of working. Trying to learn how to use Clip Studio Paint. It's totally different for me. I've got almost 20 years of Photoshop experience. Actually, I'm willing to say I have 20 years of Photoshop experience. Super challenging. Hey, Devin, what's up? This is the first time someone's talked when I've live streamed this baloney. Big old smiley face. I just punched the microphone. Look at my crazy hair. I told Catherine to get a haircut this week, but I think I'm out of time. Maybe I have to go to like Sport Clips. Just be like, just trim it a little. I'll be back on Twitch tomorrow morning, and if you got an opportunity to watch me, we're gonna do something fun. I think. I don't know. You went and got yours last week, so we didn't have to deal with it this week. Well, I just kept putting it off. I don't even want to say forgetting, just putting it off. And it was not ideal for me. I've been having some body dysmorphia, like watching my body, like my hair change. It's weird because I had the same haircut for like 15 years. So I'm kind of getting back to that where it's like, okay, I'm starting to recognize myself a little bit more. So I do think my hair needs to be longer, but it's still based on the undercut I had. So it's really not even. It looks like a disaster. But yeah, I see you've been making lots of great content. And that's really cool. I miss seeing you online, but I know you're a busy man with children and training them to cheers. Nope. 11 days since you uploaded a video. That's fine. That's fine. I still think that's good work. You're hoping to have time to record at least a short one. A fun video. What is it going to be? Tell me about it. Oh my god. I just read a silly joke. You're customize. Oh, I saw that you were going to be doing that. That's very cool. I think I will actually watch and comment on that one. I love the tech stuff. It's just not all for me, and I think you get that. Not all my stuff is probably for you. You're going to be painting it today. Cool. Very cool. I'm figuring out Clip Studio Paint. We'll be using it in the weeks coming forward, but I'll give anybody who watches this video a little spoiler. I will be making this formal announcement tomorrow on Twitch, and you may have seen this in Discord, Discord. But I've been invited to SuperCon as a guest next year. Super cool. Don't pay for my table. That's gonna save me because money is tight. But because of that, I feel like it's time to finish my comic series. I have a book and a half left to illustrate, and we're gonna work on that next week. If we could do a page a day. I didn't really say what the post was about, and I didn't use any hashtags. But yeah, if we could do a page a day, let's see, 24 plus 12, 36. We would be done maybe by the end of January. That would be ideal. Then you get it off the color and do a Kickstarter. I'm gonna need to raise like $5,000 because we're doing a trade paperback. I'm gonna collect all the books into one book. So whatever traction we can get, that would be great. And yeah, that'll be cool. It'll be nice to have it done. It has to some degree become a little bit like a monkey on my back. And what's interesting is I'm just not the person I was when I started it. Like, I've changed a lot, and I disagree with a lot of what I said in it. I think I will actually include a foreword in the book of like, this is how I've changed, and this is what this means to me now. I think that'll be valuable. And yeah, my plan right now. Hold tight 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, so when I made my old business cards, this would be 2 business cards ago. That's how long I've been working on that comic book. It looked like this, right? This is my plan for the cover, is to do this. No text on it. Just put on the spine this part, right? Okay. And then all over the front and back, all right? All over the front and back in a nearly black, put the names of all the people who kickstarted. So like you got to really look at it to see them. If I can afford to do like a gloss no gloss, like gloss on the names, no gloss on the cover, or vice versa, I'll try that. That's the plan. Yeah. It's like that has been in the works since 2017, and uh, the pandemic stopped everything. The whole book series was supposed to be done in 2020. Whoa! Holy crap! Stop! My own podcast started screaming in my head, and I was like, "Oh no!" It's legitimately frightened me. Whoa, that was me. So yeah, I'm probably gonna bounce now. I gotta get other stuff done. You're not going back over Thanksgiving here? You're not going back to South Dakota? Ooh. So you may have something. I'm sorry to hear that. We always just go to Des Moines for Thanksgiving specifically. Um, and that's really simple. And there's going to be fewer people there this year. I don't know why. Catherine's family is gigantic, and usually there's like 60 people. That's kind of an exaggeration, but it's usually pretty big. And this year, I think there's only going to be like 11 people. So, but yeah, I'm going to finish my practice in Clip Studio. I think I'm almost ready to do it on stream. I thought about the reason I didn't stream at all last week was I just wasn't ready to do Clip Studio on stream, and I thought maybe I should just do my practice on there, but I wanted to be able to like make mistakes without feeling like someone was going to correct me or like I was like having any level of embarrassment. So I just kind of spent a week making mistakes, and it was crazy. I do think I'm going to switch over to that program. I think I will cancel my Adobe subscription this year, which will make me really happy. Just, uh, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what I'll do for video editing, but we'll figure it out. Well, yeah, and it's just so hard, especially because like I love my community, but even having people be like, "Well, what if we found another way to make Adobe work for you?" And it's like it's not that Adobe doesn't work for me; it's that Adobe is not kind, and I would rather work with a something cheaper that is friendlier to my machine, and yeah, right, make it cheaper. Not having access to PDFs has been hard for me. That's the hardest part about Clip Studio. No PDFs. That's because Adobe owns PDF. And what are you gonna do? But I'm learning ways around it and learning how to paint in it. And it's funny because I've got a feeling that like specific verbiage is proprietary in Photoshop. Like one of the buttons I love to click, it says "make clipping mask," right? or create clipping mask. That's what it says. Okay, and the new verbiage in a different location in Studios, make clipping layer or something like that. I'm like, okay, it's the same thing, but the verbiage is not the same, and I have a feeling it's because, like, well, Adobe might not like you using their verbiage, or maybe it's that people don't want their verbiage to be so close to Adobe that people think they are Adobe. Could be either or. But yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up and get out of here. Edit the podcast. Get it thrown up on Patreon. If you haven't signed up for my new newsletter, that goes out tomorrow, so do that. Thanks for popping in, Devin. It really warmed my soul. I'll see you later. Bye.